Alrighty. Howdy neighbors and welcome back to the Devine Speaker. Last time, the red-haired man lied to us and then we got kicked out of town. So that's fun. Anyway, let's continue. I had to leave. With only the clothes on my back, the envelope from the matron, the book I had stolen accidentally from the speaker, and my regret. Yay. I ran. I ran like I'd never run before. I felt like my heart would burst out of my chest at any second, and my lungs burnt with every breath. Muscles I didn't even know I had ached. Even when I thought I couldn't go any further, I kept running. When I finally collapsed, all I could see was trees and darkness in all directions. I was completely lost. I lay down on my back and caught my breath. What can I do now? I've lost everything. No home to return to, no family. What will everyone at the orphanage think when they find out? Will they be disappointed? Angry? Will they think that I've abandoned them? Betrayed them? I mean, probably not. But yeah, maybe. You just never know with this type of thing. A million thoughts ran through my head all at once. Took a deep breath of the fresh forest air and calmed my thoughts. It was only then that I realized the situation I was in. I was sprawled on the fourth floor alone. At night. At night? Suddenly it picked up all the things I hadn't noticed before. A scratching sound, bushes rustling, a howling from somewhere far in the distance. The wind picked up and whipped my hair around my face, only adding to the sudden terror that had struck my heart. All the stories I've been told since childhood about venturing outside of Aurelia Cavella hit me. In fact, I hadn't only heard them, I'd repeated the same ones to the children time and time again. Nobody left the confines of Aurelia Cavella. The forest was a dangerous place that spread to the far corners of the planet, and only by the protection of the beings above had we lived in peace for so long. I'm gonna make a prediction here and now. I don't know what it's called, so please forgive. But have you guys seen that movie where there are people and they live in the settlement? And they're like, it's still like 1800s. And they're like living off the land, doing the whole thing. They're like, we need to like go and get help and things like that because people are dying and no one knew why. So they sent someone who is blind through the forest around them to try to get help. But it turns out it was like 2000s in regular life outside of their borders, outside of like their gated and fenced off area. And they were just living in these times completely oblivious to the fact that time had moved on in the real world. I don't know the name of the movie, but I feel like that's what's gonna happen here, or some extent of that. I can't explain why, but I just have that feeling. God, what's the name of that movie? I will never know. You know what? Feck it. If you know what it is, let me know in the comments, please. Because that's gonna drive me up the wall. Alright, let's continue. I strained my eyes, trying to look into the darkness that surrounded me. Finally, I dragged myself up from the forest floor, pulled my coat tighter around me for security, and nervously checked if I still had all my belongings before returning back the way I came. Maybe if I stayed close to the city lights, it'll scare away any danger. I don't think it's working.
It was this way, right? Or this way?
No matter which direction I turned to face, The trees looked the same. And from every angle, I could hear strange noises.
Oh, come on. Which way? Which way?
I put my head from left to right before dropping my head into my hands. I unconsciously let out a sigh.
It's hopeless.
Once again, I was surrounded by the sounds of the forest and the feeling of the unknown. Who knew it would be this scary? I feel like you would? Question mark. An eerie feeling. I said filling. Those are 2 E's. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. An eerie feeling, it gripped my heart. I could feel eyes on me.
No. I must be imagining it.
This could be a red hair guy. Watch. Suddenly it was quiet. I could hear my own heartbeat, quickening by the second. I had to get out of there. No sense of direction, I just ran. Ran until I couldn't run anymore. Okay, that right there, great climbing tree. Climb that tree, give yourself a minute. No matter where I went, everything looked the same. The trees started to blend together in my eyes, becoming one entity. I collapsed onto the ground and crawled backward until my body hit a tree. It was the feeling of having something behind me made me feel more secure. I buried myself into its huge roots. I could barely make out my hand in front of my face in the pitch-black darkness. The night was freezing. I brought my knees up to my chest, hugging in tight to try to get some warmth. I felt the letter that I had hidden in my clothes.
I'm sorry.
The letter clutched close to my heart. I shut my eyes to try to escape from the dangers of reality.
Destined child.
Yes, ma'am. You called?
False prophecy.
Well, fuck.
Speak. Awaken.
I woke with a start.
What was with that dream? I feel like that's not the first time either.
That's because it's not. Everything felt kind of hazy. I could barely recall what it was about. I uncurled my body from the forest floor and started to take notice of my surroundings. Rays of bright light shone between the tree branches, bringing a slight warmth to my face. It felt nice after the cold wind from last night. The air felt crisp, which is a sign it was still early.
What?
When I finally started looking around me, I noticed something strange. Surrounded by beautiful flowers. Kinds I'd never seen before.
When did these get here?
Last night it was so dark. Were they here before? They could have been, but isn't it strange for them to be around me in a circle? I let out a sigh.
What's with all of these strange things happening to me?
The weird pain I had at the town square just yesterday, the dreams that I can only half remember, not to mention the markings on my arm. Yeah, I like this outfit. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, yeah, it's a good outfit. I raised my arm up to the sky, inspecting it closely in the sunlight. I traced the symbols gently with my fingertips.
It's definitely the same symbols from the book I brought with me. What is it trying to tell me?
I absent-mindedly played with the flowers that surrounded me, which are calling the events of yesterday.
I need to find someone that can read these markings. But there's no way I'll be able to sneak back into Aurelia Cavella.
I pulled the book out and flicked through some of the other pages. Most of them were readable, but relatively unimportant. Charts, lists, budgets. But these 2 pages, the royal bloodline, and the one that matched my markings, written in an unknown language. Frig. Look back at the family tree. Everyone knows the monarchy unexpectedly ended around 20 years ago, but the reasons why weren't widely known or disclosed. Checked over the names again. King Shion of Sid Cam. What is the Sid Cam? Why does the bloodline only start 500 years ago? And then Prince Caspian, the final name. 37 years ago. And under it, a signature barely legible. Lucius.
He could still be alive. He might be able to tell me what this marking means. If only I knew where he was. Suddenly
remembered how hungry I was. I guess the last time I ate any food was yesterday. I tried to swallow, but my throat felt dry and scratchy. Seriously thirsty. Searched my pockets, but I didn't find anything to eat with me. Finally, I stood up and stretched my shoulders out. I'd give anything to sleep at a bed instead of the ground again. First task of today, find water.
Easier said than done, of course.
Listen and feel. I glanced at the trees around me, but I had no clue which way I came from last night. I have to pick a direction and hope for the best. I brushed the dirt off my clothes and started my hike to find water. And a fun transition. By now, the sun was out high above, shining brightly. It warmed my chilled body and calmed my mind. Compared to last night, the forest isn't even half as terrifying. Sunlight filtered through the green leaves above, leaving interesting patterns all over the ground. Moss grew over the moist tree trunks and roots, making everything look fuzzy and warm. I could hear the faint tweeting of birds above in the canopy. Instead of scary, it was actually kind of beautiful. The only sound I could hear was my own breathing, and the twigs breaking under my boots. It was peaceful, even serene, and the sun was up. Without noticing, I was slowing my pace, taking the scenery and enjoying the atmosphere. Everything that happened last night felt like a dream. Wild flowers littered the ground where I was walking, so I tried to avoid stepping on them. I leaned down and... I leaped? I leaned down and picked one to bring with me. I kept walking at my own pace like this for a while, before I was hit with the foul stench that quickly overpowered the fresh smell of the flower in my hand. It was kind of like off meat. This was something sickeningly sweet. I kept walking, and it kept getting stronger.
What is that?
It's gonna be the old people, watch. In the distance, I could see some kind of cloth jutting out from under a bush, under the brush. By the way, I should have said this before, I did not. For any of like the NSFW cutscenes or whatever, I have it on streamer mode. So everything is going to be censored, which is good for me. If you want to see the nasties, you're going to have to play the game on your own. Should have said that before. I did not. The dialogue is going to be the same. The pictures just might be different. Anyway, let's continue. Looks like some kind of knapsack. Could there be food in there? Water. Something I can use out here. Tried to pull it from under the bushes, but it seemed to be stuck in the branches. Grabbed on with both my hands and gave it one big pull. Came out easily when I used all my weight. But I pulled so hard, I fell backward on my butt. So it was suddenly so sickening that I couldn't help but gag. I looked down on my lap. The knapsack sat between my legs, and I could feel something wet touching my leg. I reached out to grab it. Whatever it was stone cold and slightly damp. What was that? I held my breath, but the stench was completely overpowering my senses.
3, 2, 1.
Cadaver! Slowly, I wrapped my hand around it. With a final surge of courage, pulled it into view. No. I could feel the blood instantly drain from my face. I threw it as far as I could, but I could still see it poking out of the bushes. I scrambled away as fast as possible, trying to put some distance between myself and that thing.
No. No. No.
This isn't happening. turned away quickly and my stomach lurched. The bag wasn't stuck in the bushes. It was stuck on someone's arm. And I just pulled one right off. Well, was I wrong? I don't feel like I was. I brought my hand to my chest. The feeling of my heartbeat and my palm was the only thing making this feel real. I gagged again, this time much more violently than before. It was just lucky my stomach was still empty. There's no way. This could be happening to me. Just yesterday, I was living a normal life, safe and happy. How did it come to this? And it's back at the direction I threw it. It hadn't moved. An arm. A decomposing human arm. Let's go! Cadaver! Who would be out here? I can't think of anyone wanting to leave Aurelia Cavella. No one leaves. I've never even heard of anyone else being expelled. Then, have others also been outcast like I was? How long had the body been out here? I'm telling you, it's the older people. Another wave of nausea washed over me. I feel the moisture in my hands. The slimy mucus left a brown sludge all over my palms. I put my hands to the ground until they were red raw, but the stains weren't going anywhere. I want to come off.
Get off! Please, get off!
I scrubbed and scrubbed. Even though you couldn't see it anymore. I could still feel it. It felt disgusting. Pangs of hunger I felt only a few minutes ago were completely gone. Thank the gods I hadn't found anything to eat yet. But I've instantly lost it. I couldn't move. There had to be a reason it was out here, so far from Aurelia Cavella. But why? No. Who? No, what could have done this to them? Let's back toward the bushes from behind my bangs. Their arms, so where's the rest of them? I didn't want to find out.
I have to get out of here!
I leapt back to my feet, spun around and sped away, giving no notice to the knapsack I left on the grass. I mean, I would have taken it.
How long have I been running?
And not long enough, you're not out of the forest. I could still feel it. When I looked down at my hands, there was nothing, but I could still feel it. No matter where I looked, I felt like it was still there, always watching me. Water! Nice! The sound of it when I ripped the bag from the bushes, it echoed through my mind.
Wait, what's that?
Is that water? I could definitely hear that faint trickling nearby. I quickened my pace and burst out from the trees in a flurry of leaves.
Water!
Hell yeah! I met with the river. Both sides, the banks were littered with a colorful array of trash, clothing, various odds and ends. Barely noticed though. All that matters is that I can get clean and drink. Without any thought, I kicked off my clothes and stripped down to my underwear as I ran toward the water's edge. I launched myself into the bank directly into the river. Who cares about wet underwear? Shallow water came up to my waist. There's a man! Oh! That scared the crap out of me. Was he there the whole time? Oh no! Oh, I hate it here. It was cool and refreshing against my sweaty skin. Finally, water. I kept scrubbing at my arms, hands and legs until they were red raw. I felt like I was rubbing away the memories from earlier. As I was satisfied with that, I moved on to my hair. The sweat and grease from yesterday was already building up.
That feels better already.
I had instantly whipped up toward the opposing bank. You need clothes. On the opposite bank was a young blue-haired boy with a completely dumbfounded look on his face. His arms were full of a multitude of items. Before I could open my mouth, he turned and ran.
Wait!
I bolted back for my clothes and took off in the same direction I last saw the boy. Put them on! Like, oh my god. As I ran, I could still hear the distant sound of the leaves and sticks crunching against me. I guess that means he's not far. The ground here looked like it had been used up all the time, from what could almost be called a path. He must come this way a lot. Between the trees, I caught brief glimpses of his blue locks. Soon more of his figure came into view as I gained on him.
Hey, wait, please!
He obviously wasn't going to wait. He was close enough that I could almost touch him. I reached out to grab him, but only managed to brush my fingertips against his back. That might be my only chance. I couldn't risk him getting away. Lost my energy, I leapt toward him.
Got you!
This is a scene!
I said wait!
Tackled the boy to the ground and held him there. My arms either side of his head. My lungs burned from the chase. The boy below me looked terrified. His body was shaking underneath mine.
I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to talk.
He suddenly turned bright red. He wasn't looking at my face, though. When I followed his gaze, he was looking somewhere lower. And I realized I hadn't gotten dressed yet.
I didn't. I mean...
I finally see the boy up close. Pale blue hair was feathered around him, and his silvery eyes were wide and scared. When his lips trembled, it looked like he could cry at any moment. He looked fragile, breakable. His face was slowly getting wetter the longer I leant my soggy hair over him.
I'm so sorry.
Are you hungry?
Yeah.
I got off him and picked up my clothes, cradling them to my chest.
I'm going to put my clothes back on, so don't go anywhere, please.
The other boy got up slowly, keeping his eyes on the ground and nodding his head slightly. I turned around and set my clothes back on as fast as I could. I fumbled a little while tying on my shoes. I half expected the blue-haired boy to be gone when I turned around, but he wasn't.
I'm done now. Listen, I'm sorry for jumping on you like that. I'm not trying to hurt you, but you're the only person I've seen alive out here. My name's Rain.
I reached my hand out toward him. He looked down at my open palm and hesitated, but eventually took my hand and shook it.
Fawn.
Fawn?
My name.
Oh, Fawn. It's nice to meet you.
Stupid achievement. That was a dumb name. The items that previously were held tightly in his arms and scattered all over the ground, thrown up in the air when I tackled him. We're gonna be nice. Help him. He instantly bent down to help him pick up his things. There were clothes in a rainbow of colors, strange ornaments, lots without lenses, and an array of random junk. When I handed them back to him, he smiled at me with his tinted red face.
Oh, thank you.
So, what are all of these things?
These? They're from my personal collection.
His eyes suddenly lit up.
Do you want to see? Oh, I mean, I have food and water back at my house that I could share with you.
I like his jacket. I've been staring at it, and I've come to the consensus that I like his jacket.
Really? Are you sure?
Hunger and thirst from earlier have returned with a vengeance. I'm starving.
Yeah, there's enough for both of us.
His arms full of items added to his collection. He turned around and started walking. I guess he wanted me to follow after him. I jogged up to walk beside him.
So, Fawn, you live here in the forest? By yourself?
Oh, yeah, not far from here. Not by myself, though. I live with a bunch of my friends.
Really? You all live out here together? For how long?
He stopped for a couple of seconds before speaking again. He seemed pretty deep in thought.
A while now.
Helpful.
Why did you leave Aurelia Cavella when the divine beings don't protect the outside land?
What?
The speaker says it's too dangerous to even enter the forest, let alone live here. How did you get here?
A speaker? Aurelia Cavella? Are you talking about the town to the west of here? Across the river?
Fawn frowned at me a little, obviously confused by what I was saying.
You don't know the speaker?
I've never been there before, so...
Wait, so you were born out here?
No. I came here as a child.
What's up with this guy? Maybe he's delusional from being out here for so long.
Alright. Sure.
I just let it go. It's obvious Fawn didn't know anything. Didn't know exactly what he was talking about. Can I read? No. Am I gonna keep going? Yes. Oh my goodness, look at his treehouse! That's awesome. Before I could ask anything else, we stopped in front of a tall tree with a rope ladder hanging down from it. When I looked up, I could see a small wooden hut set in the trunk.
You live in a tree?
It's safer to be up high during the night.
That's what I said! He gave me a soft smile, while he loaded a bag full of his new items and slung it across his back. I couldn't help but think it was a knapsack from earlier. I couldn't help but think about the knapsack from earlier. Missed to just try and forget about it. I started climbing the ladder with ease and waved at me from the top.
I guess it's my turn.
I drifted onto the ladder and climbed up after him.
Wow.
When I came up the ladder and into Fawn's treehouse, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It consisted of only one room, and a makeshift bed, a couple of chairs, and many other random bits of furniture. It's not what impressed me, though.
You collected all of this from the riverbank?
Yes. I've been collecting it all slowly over time.
Is that a voodoo doll hanging up? He looked so happy with my reaction. The whole room was filled with different colored glass, cloth, old books. Why do we have shaky cam? All manner of items. It all blended together to become something that looked magical. He is definitely a maximalist. Even though it was all abandoned, thrown together items, there was something homely about it. Fawn was busy scurrying around the room, putting things away and dusting. I watched the light trickle in from outside. It went through the colored glass, making the room into a rainbow. When he'd finished that, he dug around in some baskets before presenting me with a bowl of mixed fruit and nuts and a cup full of water. The hunger and thirst from earlier had come back with full force. I greedily ate the food and guzzled down the water. All the while, Fawn sat at the opposite side of the room, watching me. He had an inquisitive look in his eyes. He kind of reminded me of the kids back at the orphanage. He obviously wanted to say something.
You're the first person I've ever seen out here, and I've lived here for a very long time.
I thought you lived with friends, though.
Oh, my friends are actually...
They're birds. Before I could finish speaking, a rustling came from outside. It was slowly getting closer and closer until...
Ah!
They're squirrels. There's a bird! See, I was right. Instead of a fucking flying squirrel. Get away from me. jumped out of my seat. In the door came a fox. Where? A raccoon, 2 birds, and a few animals I'd never seen before. I want to see the fox. What the fuck?
Guys, you're back.
Looked over at Fawn. Obviously, this didn't surprise him. Bent down to pet all the animals, give them nuts and berries as he went. I couldn't help but stare at the small smile he had on his face.
Rain, these are my friends. We've lived together for years now.
Also, I'm noticing a trend when it comes to the shirts. No one has a full shirt, it looks like.
I'm sorry they gave you a fright. I'll tell them to come in quietly next time.
That's not really the problem, I guess.
He leaned down further and started whispering to them.
You can talk to them?
Of course. Sometimes they don't do what I tell them, though. They must be going through a rebellious phase.
Or, hear me out. Hear me out. Wild thought, they're animals. So he can't talk to them then. Didn't say anything though, there's no point in upsetting him. I'm actually gonna go ahead and end the episode here. Sorry, Snow White. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you later.